J. Ray Morrison, February 28, 1885 to November 19, 1982, was an American football and baseball player and a coach of football, basketball, and baseball. He served as the head football coach at Southern Methodist University, 1915 to 1916, 1922 to 1934, Vanderbilt University, 1918, 1935 to 1939, Temple University, 1940 to 1948, and Austin College, 1949 to 1952, compiling a career college football record of 155, 130, 33. He was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame as a coach in 1954. As a player, he was one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of Vanderbilt Commodores football. Morrison was selected as the quarterback and kick returner for an Associated Press Southeast Area All-Time Football Team 1869 to 1919 era. He piloted the team to 2 Southern Intercollegiate Athletic Association (SIAA) titles in 1910 and 1911. The 1910 team fought defending national champion Yale to a scoreless tie. Yale coach Ted Coy called Morrison the greatest player I have seen in years. In 1911, Coy selected Morrison All-American and the Atlanta Constitution voted Vanderbilt the best backfield in the South. He took over as coach at his alma mater Vanderbilt after the retirement of legendary coach Dan McGugin. Morrison was the Southeastern Conference (SEC) Coach of the Year in 1937. He was also the first head coach in the history of SMU Mustangs football, and helped popularize the forward pass in the Southwest with his Flying Circus teams, most notably when led by Gerald Mann. Ray Morrison was born on February 28, 1885, in Sugar Branch, Indiana. Soon after the family moved to McKenzie, Tennessee, where Morrison attended school. He also spent a year at McTire School for Boys. To achieve funds for college, Morrison worked on a dredge boat on the Mississippi River for a year. Morrison won Bachelor of Ugliness for the class of 1912. He played on the football and baseball teams with his brother Kent. He played football as a prominent quarterback and halfback for Dan McGugin's Vanderbilt football teams from 1908 to 1911. He is considered one of the best quarterbacks in Vanderbilt's long history. The team posted a 36-2 record during his 4 years. He was selected for an all-time Vanderbilt team in 1934. Morrison was selected as the quarterback and kick returner for an Associated Press Southeast Area All-Time Football Team 1869 to 1919 era. He weighed some 155 to 159 pounds. The 1908 squad was hampered by a wealth of sophomores, which McGugin with the help of halfback Morrison led to a 7-2-1 campaign, including a loss to rival Sewanee. In a 16-9 defeat of Tennessee, widely considered their greatest team at that point, Walker Leach got loose for a 60-yard run on a fake kick, tracked down by Morrison and stopped short of the goal. The 1909 team lost to SIAA champion Sewanee, its first loss to a Southern team in 6 years. The 1910 team won the SIAA title and fought defending national champion Yale to a scoreless tie on Yale Field. Yale coach Ted Coy called Morrison the greatest player I have seen in years. He was selected All-Southern by several writers. Vanderbilt won a close game over Mississippi 9-2. Late in the first quarter, Morrison returned a punt 90 yards for Vanderbilt's touchdown. John Heisman was the game's field judge, and McGugin did not want to show too much, playing Heisman's Georgia Tech in 2 weeks. Morrison was the star of the Georgia Tech game, scoring 2 touchdowns. Edwin Pope's football's greatest coaches on the 1911 team reads, a lightning-swift backfield of Lou Hardage, Wilson Collins, Ammi Sykes, and Ray Morrison pushed Vandy through 1911 with only a 9-8 loss to Michigan. The Atlanta Constitution voted it the best backfield in the South. Ted Coy selected Morrison All-American. He was unanimously selected All-Southern. Morrison, Hardage and Rabbi Robbins had 2 touchdowns each in a 45-0 win over Central. Morrison had 2 short touchdown runs in a 17-0 win over Georgia, and had a 22-yard run on a fake punt. In easily the greatest Southern game of the season, Vanderbilt claimed the SIAA title by beating Mississippi 21-0. Morrison had a 70-yard run, and on a fake punt out of his own end zone ran for 75 yards. Against Sewanee, Morrison threw a touchdown pass to Hardage, as well as had a short touchdown run. Morrison also played on the baseball team, moved to the outfield from catcher in his junior year, and back to catcher as a senior. The 1910 and 1912 teams won the SIA. Morrison was captain of the 1912 team. Morrison first taught and was athletics director at Branham and Hughes Military Academy in Spring Hill. Upon American entry into World War I, Morrison went to Fort Oglethorpe. In 1919, Morrison spent a year at Gulf Coast Military Academy as athletics director and teacher. Ray Morrison was the first head coach in the history of SMU Mustangs football. He won just 2 games in 2 years from 1915 to 1916. In 1920, Morrison returned to SMU. He notably brought the forward pass to the Southwest during his time at SMU. Morrison was one of the first to pass not just on first down, but on first and second down too. His teams earned the nickname the Flying Circus. They won the 1923, 1926, and 1931 Southwest Conference (SWC) titles. An 18-game unbeaten streak was ended in the 1925 Dixie Classic, with a touchdown off a tipped pass for West Virginia Wesleyan's Gail Bowman, and a 30-yard field goal missed in the final minute. Morrison's best passer, Hall of Fame quarterback Gerald Mann, led the team to the 1926 title. The 1929 team was undefeated, but with 4 ties, including one with undefeated TCU to close the season. He coached Vanderbilt in 1918 when McGugan left for the military, and led the Vanderbilt team to a 4-2 record. The team beat Tennessee 76-0, the largest margin of victory in the history of the rivalry. Former Nashville Banner sportswriter Fred Russell's book 50 Years of Vanderbilt Football, published in 1938, wrote, "Salient after salient was wiped out by General Morrison's forces, and Tennessee's reinforcements could not check the tide. The retreat turned into a bloody, hopeless rout. Berryhill was cited for bravery for his wonderful outflanking the enemy, by which he took 6 positions, touchdowns, single-handedly. The result was 76-0. Morrison was also the head basketball coach at Vanderbilt for 1 season in 1918-19, tallying a mark of 8-2, and the head baseball coach at the school in 1919, notching a record of 3-3. Upon the retirement of the legendary McGugan, Morrison was hand-picked as successor at his alma mater. Morrison brought his own staff from SMU and neglected the retained Josh Cody's coaching abilities. Fred Russell offered this description of Morrison upon his arrival as coach of Vanderbilt. MW parser output. Template quote, overflow, hidden, margin, 1M0, padding, 0. 40px, a.mw parser output. Template quote. Template quota site, line height, 1.5 m, text align, left, padding left, 1.6 m, margin top, 0. Morrison's first team in his second stint finished second place in the Southeastern Conference, SEC, led by captain and SEC Player of the Year Willie Jeunet. The 1936 team was captained by Dick Plassman, the last NFL player to play without a helmet. The 1937 team upset LSU on a hidden ball trick, the school's first ever victory over a ranked opponent. The AP poll began in 1936. The team's captain was SEC Player of the Year Carl Hinkle and also featured Baby Ray. Morrison was awarded SEC Coach of the Year in 1937. After the 1939 season, Morrison resigned from his position at Vanderbilt to go to Temple, with Cody as his line coach. He resigned from Temple in 1949. He finished his career at Austin College. He quit to take over development and public relations at SMU, a post he held for 11 years. Morrison died at the home of his son in Miami Springs, Florida, at the age of 97.